Hey, what's up, guys? Zen Hailing here, and just answering a breathing question that's been asked more than once, so I just want to clarify. The question was, do I hold in between breaths when exhausted from a sprint or between rounds of a fight? And, whether you're training or sprinting, a lot of times the natural inclination is you're sucking wind, so you're thinking you need to breathe in, but the truth is, most of us are over breathing at that moment. So what you want to do in order to recover your breath is to actually force an exhale out. So instead of trying to breathe in, most of the time what you're trying to do is force an exhale out. Now, it's something you have to remember or have a trainer kind of remind you to do, but when you force the exhale out, what you're doing is you're getting rid of that CO2, and you're also clearing room for a greater inhale, for that recovery, for that oxygen to actually get into your body. When you're training, a lot of times you're breathing, you're over breathing, and that's when stress is happening with our body. We're over breathers, so a lot of times we don't need more oxygen. We actually need to get rid of the CO2 in order to balance our pH levels. And what balancing your pH levels does is helps to delay that onset of acidosis, which for an athlete will turn up and translate as lactic acid, where your muscles get heavy and it takes you longer to recover. Mountain climbers experience this. Acidosis for normal people translates into inflammation and all types of different diseases like gout and kidney stones, uric acid. So that's why balancing your pH levels of your blood is very important, and the easiest way to do that is through your breathing. So again, your breathing is responsible for balancing the amount of oxygen, CO2, and acidosis in the blood. And again, that acidosis translates into inflammation, or for the performer, the athlete, into lactic acid. So if you're, for somebody who's fighting or even just training with the bag, or a lot of short exhales, you see boxers doing this all the time. They're training and they're, or it's a little expulsion breath. Just like in yoga, in breath of fire, Kabbalah body breath, it's an expulsion breath that's happening out the nasal passage or the mouth. Now, boxers will have a mouthpiece in a lot of times, so they're not really doing it out the mouth, but you'll see they're concentrating mostly on the exhale. And when you concentrate on the exhale, you're also making sure you're not over inhaling. You're going to be sucking wind enough during your fight or during your training that you're going to be getting enough oxygen. You're going to be inhaling enough. So concentrating on the exhale will help you not over breathe. And also, when you're trying to stay loose, the exhale relaxes the intercostal. So if you're trying to throw a strike or get that torque going, when you exhale, you're relaxing the intercostals, the ribs. So that's making sure that you're staying loose. So that's just a little bit about breathing, exhaling for performance. I say it all the time. Somebody says take a breath. One breath is your inhale, your pause, your exhale, and your pause. So, the first breath and inhale, then you have your pause. Now you're letting that oxygen bathe the body, invigorate the body, so you're not in a hurry to let it go. Now you have your exhale. And another pause. Now you're taking that next breath. That second pause is where, if you're really trying to work on overcoming trauma or creating a new mental impression, like champion athletes will do this. A lot of times they'll let go of that on the back end, they'll let go of that and then pause and now create a new mental impression. It might be them, getting a medal around their neck, or feeling that pins and needles that happens when, the exultation after a great hit, or winning a game, or making a great play, or if you're overcoming trauma, letting all that breath out on the second pause and exploring that second pause, creating a new mental impression. So if you're somebody who's had a bad experience, maybe got up and did a speech and forgot your words, then you can maybe let all your air out and visualize you really delivering that speech with power and grace and remembering your lines. Remember, you probably forgot the words of your speech because you got hijacked, the pause of your body. So, yogis know this. When you pause the breath, you still the fluctuations of the mind. So when you're in control of that pause, you're, at the end of the day, you're trying to calm those 60,000 thoughts and settle down before going to bed. That's where taking a breath, being in control of the pause is a good thing. In meditation, it's a good thing. But when, the emotional excitement hijacks your breathing rate, making it irregular, it's because you're all of a sudden you're holding your breath because of the emotional excitement hijacking your breathing rate. Or, when you're at the point of heightened concentration, even threading a needle, we're holding our breath. So, editing, being on a computer, concentrating a lot of times, we're holding our breath, and that's hijacking our breathing rate. So being in control of that pause is very key. I say it all the time. So again, just a little bit about, how to maybe recover, what the mechanics of breathing are when you're talking about take a breath with the inhale pause, exhale pause. Remember, being in control of the pause will give you more power and keep that mental clarity in the moment. This has been Zen Healing. Breathe well, guys. Stay flexible.